We're watching in the market right now a lot of the regional banks falling, and part of that is a concern of their ties to the broader economy, of their ties to the real estate market. When you look at the residential world, what worries you the most?
Well, I think it's good to mention the regional banks. These things are so interconnected. I think a lot of times people think about the capital coming into real estate from the big banks, but actually over 80% of commercial real estate lending in the U.S. comes from banks 250 billion and below. So that tension there, that friction there, it will have an impact. In New York City with Signature, there was a lot of talk not just about the role that Signature plays in commercial real estate more broadly, but housing especially. So it's causing a lot of concern, and it should.
Yeah, differentiate that for me here, because people are looking through the bank balance sheet and trying to understand the difference. When it came to First Republic, it wasn't like some of the other banks. With First Republic, these were loans to high net worth individuals and mortgages that went underwater. Are you worried about the real estate market when it comes to housing as opposed to commercial real estate?
Absolutely. So, so Signature, as I was mentioning, they are lenders to multifamily buildings across the country, but significantly in New York, that are home to, your mom and pop owners of, 1 to 4 family, your 50-unit buildings, your 20-unit buildings. So those are some of the housing stock that have families all over the country. So there is a real human impact.
Well, what about city by city? That's interesting because people think about it in terms of office space. You see Guggenheim, for example, Citadel reducing their exposure to Chicago, where Vistria has a huge presence. And so you think about New York, Chicago, San Francisco. How concerned are you, frankly, on both housing and commercial real estate?
Well, I would say we really have to parse these things. So when you think about a lot of the concern in commercial real estate more broadly, you have concern on hospitality. You have the, I think, very significant disruption and change we're having in office between your brand new, really high-tech Class A and B and C. And then you have to put multifamily in an entire different category because we focus a lot on the stress that we saw during COVID, and still with that luxury Class A high-end resi, that is very different from the resi and multifamily that most Americans live in, the Class B, the Class C, the workforce. People sometimes refer to it as naturally occurring affordable. There's a lot more stability in that space. So at the high end, certainly some concern, but for the bulk of multifamily that most Americans live in, still a lot of stability there.